Hi everybody. Today we've come to Wroxeter,
Roman city.
Roman city. Yeah. There's some activities going on and there's some reenactments going on, or re-enactors. Romans. So we thought we'd come and have a look at our ancient monuments, what's left. It was one of the largest, was it not?
One of the largest Roman cities in the empire, well, in Britain anyway,
Yeah.
at the time.
Obviously you won't be able to...
One of the largest freestanding, one of the largest freestanding pieces of Roman structure still left as well.
Yeah. So we're going to explore, have a look what there is and see what the Romans have to say. See you in a bit. Wow, so that was the size.
Very kind.
Brilliant.
So we're here at the moment. This is the old forum. This is where we started the video.
Yeah.
The baths outside, I think, are these here. So that's where we are now. So you can show much of the city is still buried.
Yes. Amazing if they excavated all that. Wow.
This is an impressive bit of wall, that is.
Yes.
I think it's one of the tallest pieces of Roman structure, if not the tallest, surviving in England.
We have to find them today.
See the Roman tile in between.
Yes. The old work, the external wall of the basilica, known as the old work, still stands to a height of 7 metres 23 feet. The large gaps where the doors through the bathing suites once stood. The square holes allowed wooden scaffold beams to be laid through the wall. Once the wall was finished, the timbers were removed and the holes sealed.
These are where the baths were. These are the underfloor heating and the hydrocast.
Ah yes, the underfloor heating.
Yeah. Like an archway.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's been laid like an arch. That must have been the roof, because they were arched roofs, you know.
Yes.
You can see where the roofs used to be in the
You
terrace.
see how that tiles
Yeah,
slants
that's
to it.
they're the pillars for the roofs.
Yeah. Impressive underground heating, the baths. It's fascinating to see all this. history. It's amazing that so much of it still stands. Palestra?
That's a swimming pool.
So it is a swimming pool, yeah.
This building is where the forum would have been.
Okay, so that building is where the forum would have been, and this is the original forum outer walls.
Well, what's left of them.
What's left of it, yes. Right, so we continued excavation work here at Wroxeter, so we've got a lot more to do excavation wise.
Our project's over. We were here for a month and we were evaluating what the archaeology is like in that field over there.
Right,
and
yeah.
we're right in the centre of the Roman city, so we were looking for, we think it was the precinct around one of the city temples.
Did you find any interesting?
We did, yes. We found lots of buildings and walls. We found what we think was either a shrine or an early mausoleum. We found a very nice townhouse with wall plaster and that kind of thing. Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
so,
really good.
Yeah, so is that going to be, does it get buried up again now, or does
That's
it? Yes.
what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
You can see the machine perhaps beyond the Land Rover.
Yeah.
And that's filling in all of the trenches, so they're all gone.
It's a shame, isn't it?
It is in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it would
but then
be nice
if it
to
was
have-
stayed open,
Yes.
within a year or so it'll all be destroyed. So
Yes.
we fill it back in, we know where everything is, it's all protected, and if somebody wants to come back again they can re-excavate what we've done or look at other parts of that field or any parts of Wroxeter.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. What you're wearing is typical of the day? Yeah?
Exactly,
Is it exactly spot on?
Lorica segmentata, yeah. The chainmail is Lorica hamata, and somebody's got squamata on, which is
There.
see him
The brass.
Oh yes,
all
yes,
like
yes,
brass,
yes.
small scales. So you could have the three. The only good thing with the segmata is it can take a lot more blunt trauma than the hamata.
Chainmail.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, like something through a rock, or
Yes.
this protected a bit more, but that's heavier, I think, or I'm not sure.
No, so this is great because the weight is actually all over yourself. I've worn that once and the weight
Oh, it's
was
unbelievable,
just
yeah.
there.
Right,
Just
so
there,
just on
and
the
I
shoulders.
hated it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only the second time I've done it, but the first time I done it, I don't know how they can march for 25 miles and then fight a battle. I was just totally, the weight of the kit is unbelievable.
They must have been incredibly fit.
No, that's it. They were incredibly
I mean,
fit, because that's what they were doing all the time. If we were doing it every day,
Oh yeah, we'd definitely.
we'd be doing it. But because we're, you know, down in the pub most of the time, that's
A lot smaller than us as well.
yeah.
So what emperor are we at the moment? Do we know?
It's Vespasian. isn't it?
Vespasian, yes. We have his image over there. And if you look on the shrine on the right hand side, we've got the image of the emperor.
All
The
right.
magnifer carries it. So yeah, Vespasian is our emperor.
So Wroxeter it's one of the biggest, isn't it? That settlements.
It is, yes. It's the only one with the original freestanding Roman wall.
Yes.
So yes, it's an impressive site, impressive place. But the lot we can't see because
It's still buried, isn't it? I
Buried,
suppose?
yes.
Yes. So will they be excavating more of this? Do you think?
They have been doing some across the side of the
The
road.
other side of the
you
road,
see.
yes.
They've been across there. They found a lot of pottery and everything across there. So they've just finished off a week's dig.
Right. So your kit
Yes.
is rather fetching.
Thank you.
It is. So we've got different, obviously, kits here, haven't we? What people are wearing, different
Yes.
ones, and you've got the plume.
The plumes, the dress. So you've got the. Where's our optio gone? Our optio is just coming up towards us now.
I can see him in between.
He's the centurion's option. So basically,
Right.
he's second in command.
Okay.
Um,
So what rank have we got then, sort of going?
well, we've got the legionaries.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm the signifer. I'm
Right.
the guy in charge of the pay and pension, so they have to look after me.
Of course.
Because they have to protect me. Because if I don't make it, they lose their money and this gets dishonoured.
Yes.
We've got the centurion who's not here yet, but then we've got the magnifer who carries the image of the emperor. On the top now, I can't remember what the other one is as well, but it shows off the legion. Because if you look at the top, we've got the bull on the top, which is the symbol of our legion,
Yes.
and below it says cohort VI, so with the 6th cohort.
Yes.
So yeah, that's how.
All right. So we've got obviously arrows here and different weaponry.
Yes.
So were people more specialised, perhaps, in arrows and in swords than?
We all get trained on the gladius.
Yes.
So we have the gladius, which is the stabbing weapon.
Yeah.
So we use either above, straight in, or below. We go for the soft areas. It's not a chopping weapon like you see in the movies.
Yes.
Each soldier carries 2 peeler, which is the spears.
Right.
And it's the first ever kind of recycling, because when you throw it at someone, the tip bends.
Right.
So it gets stuck in either the shield or the person.
Yes.
And after the battle, they'll go around, take the tip off, put a new one on, recycle the old one.
Really?
Yep. Then we have the artillery. We've got across in the background. So if you
Yes.
step across
That's
it.
it.
You've got the Xantum on the left, which is found in Xantum in Germany, which is like the small support weapon.
Yeah.
And then to the right, you've got the 3-span ballista thrower. So basically, that's a span.
Right.
So each of the arms is 3 spans. So yes. Then you've got the archers. They usually tend to be auxiliaries,
Yes.
and typically from Syria, because they're very good at archery. So
Right.
yeah.
That's great. So, anything we would know about the Romans? Any little tidbits?
Depends what kind of tidbits you want.
Let's see. Okay, so how about ladies and wives of Romans?
Right. The standard melee, or that's the Latin name for the Roman soldiers, not allowed to get married.
Right.
Once you're an officer, centurion and above, you're allowed to have a wife.
Oh,
But some did have girlfriends, but back in those days they tend to have the brothels.
right,
So the
yes.
soldiers would sort of do it that way. But sometimes I can imagine the rules were changed. But marriage wasn't allowed until you hit.
That must have been terrible for them. They had to use brothels all the time. They couldn't get married.
No, but it made you work to become an officer to get married.
So you could get married, yes.
It's an incentive.
Yes. I'm not sure if people would class it particularly as an incentive all the time, but you know.
It was,
might
I
be.
think it was back in the day, wasn't it? So,
Yes. Yeah, that's fabulous. Thank you very much.
No, you're more than welcome. Enjoy.
Thank you. See how they'll get this.
It's a brothel token, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what we were just saying.
I know what that is. It's a
I
brothel
like how
token.
you immediately recognise
How do
it.
you immediately recognise it's a
You went
brothel
the wrong way
token?
round.
Well, you hold it for me then, because I'm
be
trying
there.
to see.
The man of experience here, you see.
Of course,
It's a brothel token.
says a lot. Yes,
It's double-sided if you flip it over.
yes, flip it over. There it is. I don't know how much it'll pick up because this is.
I can see it quite plainly.
I know, but it's my camera.
I mean, still though, I'm frankly surprised Andy can see anything clearly.
Yes. So
But in the
I'll give you
brothels-
that, so you can use your brothel token. They're really pretty.
Measuring equipment.
So Roman measuring equipment.
Yeah, when they're applying the roads, doing the roads,
Yes.
this is what they use. They like poles, or they would distance, distancing
Yeah.
poles. We get the levels for doing the roads. So all this equipment is all for doing.
It's
road
really
building work.
sophisticated, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. They're pretty well. So these are all the Roman tools. The legionaries carried various types of pickaxe and shovels.
So this is why they had straight roads then, because
This is
of this
why, yeah,
equipment.
yeah, that's why, because they were good at making straight roads because of
Yes.
this.
Yes, we could learn a lot for the Romans.
Probably yes. Our councillors could do it with a couple of lessons, really.
Yeah, they could.
How to build a road that lasts.
Excellent. It's nice to see ladies as well as the gentlemen. So, are you ladies? Would you be wives of any of?
Not necessarily.
soldiers, or just-
The Roman army didn't travel with women, let's say, but when they had forts there would be civilian settlements outside the walls, but the only soldiers allowed to marry were the commanders.
Yes. So, would you have been a married man? So you
As a
were
centurion.
Yes, you'd be married. You'd be a married man.
What I'm representing really would be a British woman who would be Romano-British, so
Right.
a native Briton but adopting the Roman lifestyle, and those women could be very independent and have their own businesses.
How did that come about then? I mean, do you just all of a sudden then think the Romans are here, I'm going to join them or whatever? Or are
Romans
you?
were here for 400 years.
Yes.
So it was very, very integrated. Once they'd, became established, it was, you'd adopt the Rome, you'd follow the fashions from Rome, and you'd see what the empress's hairstyle was, and it was that kind of thing. And it was
So what were your jobs? Were you then
women in Roman Britain could have all kinds of jobs. So you could run your own business, running a shop or a bakery. You could run all kinds of businesses, really. Also, women were quite educated in those days, so most people would be able to read and write. To a certain degree. Boys would probably get a bit of further education, but women would be quite active in society.
So you don't hear much about the ladies, do you? Really?
No.
It's mainly
No,
the centurions and the more masculine things. So it's nice to hear what the females actually, how important they were in the role of.
Yes. Yeah. And although it was quite a patriarchal society, we do know, even in Rome itself, that there were influential women in the emperor's household and that kind of thing. And the emperor that we depict at our time is Vespasian, and he's a very interesting man. He met what we call an imperial slave, so Antonia Canis. She was a slave of the imperial family. They met and fell in love, but because he had to go and have his career, he had to go and marry the respectable wife and whatnot, and they didn't see each other for years and years, and then she became a freed woman. And when he actually became emperor, after he and his wife had died by then, he said, well, I can do what I want now, I'm going to live with Antonia Canis. And so she was the sort of unofficial empress.
Oh,
She's a
right.
fascinating
Yes. I'll have to have a look at her. Have to look her up. Yes. Fabulous. Thank you.
So the Romans did do a lot of sewing. They liked things to be draped and pinned.
Yes, draped and pinned.
Draped and pinned.
So you ladies make your own clothes?
Yes.
We do.
Draped
yes.
and pinned, I guess.
Draped and pinned.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's-
Mine are, like with yours, are the same, very
Yeah.
Celtic.
Yeah.
As I said, mine are British, so I wear the Celtic brooches. And
Mm-hmm.
but then we do, as Catherine said, we've got the Roman sort of headbands and jewellery as well. So it's a bit of
Yeah.
a mixture of the both. Yeah.
And Roman women would, it was a sign of becoming an adult when you started wearing your hair up.
Right.
So normally about 12, you would no longer wear your hair down. And certainly if you were a high status Roman lady, you would never be seen outside with your hair uncovered.
Really?
Yeah, it was very,
Oh, I never knew that
all
then.
about
Yeah.
modesty and that kind of thing, yeah.
You see it on the TV, don't you? With the,
Yes.
it looks
They would
quite
be-
lovely, but it was
they would be
actually for a
covered.
reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But yes, so Celtic women would, you know, have braided hair and have their
Yes.
hair down, but Roman women would wear it.
wear it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Today, whose shields are a similar design. I've thrown small celts on top of it in the past, and it is surprisingly strong. When they draw the sword, they shout Jove Optimo Maximo, and this is a prayer to Jupiter, the greatest and best. The Romans were very religious people and worshipped a great many gods, but Jupiter is the chief god, so you also always want him on your side. When you joined the army, it didn't matter if you were left or right-handed, you would have to learn to use the shield in your left and the sword in your right, because otherwise these sort of manoeuvres don't work. They're all designed so that you fight as a unit and you're protecting the man next to you. He also wears a crest which goes from left to right, and he wears leg guards. This would be because he would be paid more than the other soldiers, so could afford better equipment, but also because he leads from the front. So it's important to have extra protection and people would follow the crest. He also carries a vine staff instead of a spear, and this gives him a license to kill. It entitles him to beat to death a Roman citizen, should they require that kind of corporal discipline. It is the classical view of a Roman soldier, but it was used for quite a short period of time, around about 150 years, in the early part of the empire. It's fitted together with straps of leather inside, which makes it very flexible. It has two body sections and two shoulder sections, which are then linked together, which means it's quite easy to transport because you can pack it away into a box quite handily. And it is very flexible, but it does need to be fitted to a person, unlike chainmail, which you can put anybody in it really. Around their waist, they're wearing the cingulum militaire. This is the military belt. And on the front of this, it has a nice decorative apron. As you can imagine, it's not a great deal of protection, but it is nice and jingly when they're marching along, so they do enjoy that. You were only allowed to wear this military belt if you were a soldier. So even if you were off duty and you just had your tunic, as long as you had your belt on, everyone knew that you were in the army. On the right-hand side of this, we have the gladius, the sword. It's worn on the right-hand side and drawn with an inverted grip, so it can be drawn from behind the shield, not across the body, as you may imagine. It's a stabbing weapon, so you just use the top 2 or 3 inches, you try and get straight into the jugular or up under the ribs. Just a quick, clean, punching stab. This is where we get the word gladiator from, which means a swordsman. And on the left-hand side of the belt, some of the soldiers are wearing a pugio. We don't think it was standard military issue, but they would have been very popular. Quite handy to have this when you're out on campaign. On their feet they're wearing either the caligae, which is the Roman marching sandal, or the enclosed fell boot. Now both of these are studded underneath with iron hobnails, and this protects the leather, and it's also good for stamping on people when you've got them on the ground. Caligae, the sandals, were worn in this country, but in the later periods the fell boot was much more popular. As you can imagine, it's much more warm on your feet. Then we have 3 officers on the field today. So we have the standard bearer, who is carrying the standard of the Legion. He wears a small decorative shield, and he would be a high-ranking officer. Carrying the standard is carrying the honour of the Legion, and if it was lost in battle, that would be the end of that Legion. It would be wiped from the records. The Legion says Legio et Augusta. We are the 8th Legion of the Emperor Augusta, and MGV is one of our battle honours. It stands for Mutina Galensis Victrix, which was a big battle that the 8th took part in.
Hi guys, we're on our way back home now after our morning at Wroxeter. It was a nice day, nice morning, nice few hours to kill. It was nice to see some ancient ruins and some Romans walking around. We'll let you know what we thought when we get back to the little studio, but for now we'll see you soon. Bye. Hi guys, welcome back to my little studio. Today we've been Roman. So we went to Wroxeter. There was a little Roman reenactment going on, so I got to learn new things I've never learned before about the Romans. Obviously looking at the ruins of Wroxeter, it's amazing to think what lies actually underneath that ground for probably acres and acres and acres, because it's a huge place probably under there that we'll never probably get to see or certainly dig up, let's say. But you know, they keep working on it, and it was nice to actually have a quick chat with the archaeologists there who had been doing a little bit more digging to find a few more artifacts and buildings, which was, you know, really interesting. But of course they have to like cover them all back up then, so we can't get to see them all. And the Romans themselves, they obviously looked great. Their costumes were authentic. They were very friendly. They told us lots of interesting facts and features. So a good morning was had by all. We enjoyed it, and it was just about 3 hours. It wasn't that long because there's nothing else really there at Wroxeter. It's in the middle of nowhere really. So considering it was one of the most important places of the Roman Empire, nowadays I'm afraid it's just a little field really and a farmer's. But you know, once upon a time it was spectacular. And I've got some news for you all now. We're going to stop doing these videos for a while. We've got other things that we need to be getting on with and doing. So I'm afraid this will be the last one for the foreseeable. Hopefully we'll be back perhaps next year. And it depends if people want us back, of course. But until then, all I can say is thank you so much for watching. It's been fun to make these videos. I hope you found them interesting and enjoyable, and that you've learnt some history along the way. So me and Andy would both like to say farewell for now, and hopefully see you again soon. Bye.